Hello everybody, it's Basilisk here, and welcome back to another episode of Infinite Skies. And yes, it is me, even though I look like this, which is kind of like the default skin. For some reason, my skin isn't in here, so, oh well, you won't be looking at me for long anyway. Let's get on to what I have been doing. Well, I have added a bunch of recipes into our ME system. Basically, I added, where are they? All of the ones over here that I could add and that actually made sense to add. So there are certain ones like the logistics stuff I didn't add. Probably won't be using logistics much anymore. I've also noticed that there is a problem with this particular setup I've got here, which is a bit of a pain. Basically, when the active supplier, this one says it's trying to keep these chips in here. If there are 32 chips in here of the redstone ones, then it will request another 32. The AE system will pull out the 32 that are there and deliver them into here, fulfilling that 32 request, but it hasn't really, so it requests more, and basically it makes a big loop, and it's a bit of a pain. So, what are we going to get on to this episode? Well, the next thing I kind of want to get into is Mine Factory Reloaded. Well, what I actually want to get into is the crop stuff that I was talking about doing a while ago. We got started on our crops up here. I actually want to get more of the automated stuff for the animals and the crops set up. To do that, let's come back over to down here. To do that for the crops, we're going to use the harvester. So we need to get into this plastic sheets in particular, and for that, raw plastic, from the rubber bars. So we can get raw plastic, no problems at all. Compressed sawdust, that's not really a problem, but we need to get this rocket fuel. And so I'm going to go with setting this up fully automated straight away, and to do that we are going to need the vat. We're going to need two of these actually. So machine chassis, fluid tanks, and cauldrons, electrical steel, and a furnace. Well, I've already put in the recipe for machine chassis, so I should be able to just request two of those and start it. There we go, we've got those. The tanks. Okay, so let's have a look. The vat, the tanks, not a problem. I can grab two of those, put them in there. Cauldron, again, easy. Electrical steel we've got. So I didn't make enough of the tanks or whatever because I want two of these. There we go. 2 vats. Now I think where I want to put this is we'll start repurposing this area up here, and in the end all of this will be connected up to AE. So I think maybe here, and this one will be set to output its liquids that way, and I don't know if I have to set both the inputs and the outputs, but that's going to pull that side. So to make the rocket fuel, what we need to do is gunpowder and redstone, and we have to have a hooch in here. Now a hooch is made with some kind of crop thing here and sugar. Now this times 8 and so on is how it affects how much hooch you make per process through the machine. So times what it's actually multiplying by is 250 millibuckets. So a potato times 4 will be a litre, a poisonous potato times 8 will be 2 litres, and so on. And they also use the relative amount of water that matches up with that. So a potato will use 4 litres of water here and produce 1 litre of, or 1 bucket, not litre, 4 buckets of water and 1 bucket of hooch. So that's where we're going with that. We're going to want some water to come in the side here, and then the rocket fuel to go out. Now, how am I going to set this up for autocrafting? Well, basically I'm going to make it so that we get a certain amount of rocket fuel kept in our system at all times. That's then available for us to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some basic things here, and then we'll get started on how this is all going to work. Welcome back, and I've got a few things set up here now to connect to these vats. If you see here, what we've got is a fluid export bus, and this is not too hard. It's not actually from Applied Logistics, it's from Extra Cells, but it's pretty easy to make. Yeah, basically the same as a normal export bus, but you have 2 pieces of lapis, and we're also going to be using the fluid input bus here as well. So this export bus is going to be exporting water into our tank here. I don't know whether I need to have that as a pull, but I'll set it up anyway. So that will be exporting water into the tank. Around the back we've got a normal export bus, which is going to be exporting sugar and potatoes into the tank. The hooch is going to move straight across. This one's going to be exporting gunpowder and redstone into the vat, and this one's the fluid import bus pulling the fluid back out. And I'll show you how we've got it set up that fluid's going to be stored. But firstly, let's have a quick look at this little setup. So what I've got here is a simple water generator. I mean, I've infinite water source with a transfer node going into this tank. We've then got a fluid input bus there. I couldn't seem to connect the fluid input bus directly to the transfer node or transfer pipes. I'm not sure whether it can work, but it didn't seem to work for me, so this tank seems to, well, it helped out anyway. And we've got this little guy up here. Now he's a fluid level emitter. This one says, I've got a redstone card in it, and it says active when we've got a redstone signal and it's inputting water. It inputs anyway, but this is just in case, I guess. We've got to say what fluid it is. Now this guy here says if we've got 1,000,000 millibuckets in the system, or 1,000 buckets, then I'll get rid of that there so we can actually see this. It emits a signal when it's below this amount in the system. So while there's less than 1,000,000 water in the system, then emit this signal, which will then pull out water. Now where does that water go? Well, this again is from Extra Cells, that they have these, bring that back up, fluid storage components, which you can put into a fluid storage housing and put into your ME drives, and then you can also interact with it with, for example, the terminal, which is somewhere, fluid terminal. So if we have a look out here, I made a fluid terminal. that says we've got 1,000 buckets of water, or 1,000,000 millibuckets, which is why it's stopped pumping water. And up here, I've got one of those fluid storage cells. Now, I went a little bit crazy, I guess you could say, with the crafting. I set it up to be able to autocraft the 1024K fluid cells, and I'm not sure I actually need this, because I'm setting it to having 1,000 buckets of water in the system, which seems like an awful lot, and we probably don't need that much. And that's using only a tiny amount of the storage in there. Maybe it might come in handy for other fluids later, but not for that one. So, now what we want to do is set up the vats. So potato, I'll grab one of you, and I'll control click, no, shift click. I think there's a way of getting just one, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Let's just get one of those. Sugar, I think we've got no problem with. Plenty of sugar. Plenty of sugar cane to turn into sugar as well if we need to. And we need gunpowder and redstone. So we'll pop up with these. First thing I want to do is to set this guy to say, please export me water. Now we should find that this is filling up with water. Well, that's pretty good so far. We can then set this guy to say, please export sugar, poisonous potato, and normal potato. Hopefully it knows what goes into what side. Hopefully it puts more sugar in. I'm not sure how it decides which one to put in first, though, out of this. I put a capacity card in, otherwise there's only one export slot, and we need more than one thing in there. Okay, you are putting in a lot of potatoes and not much sugar. Maybe we need an acceleration card. Acceleration card. Oh, we've got plenty of those already. Up we go. Okay, he's got more. Now that he's filled up with the potatoes. Oh, well, this is going to work itself out then in the end. It's going to put in the sugar when it's filled up this slot and vice versa. So we are now getting the hooch over here. And from the hooch we can set it up to make us rocket fuel. So, for that we need gunpowder and redstone. This will then put a gunpowder in. Let's initially put those in so that it... Oh yep, now it's easily filled up quickly. I don't think in the long run I'm going to need those, because it's going to just keep it topped up as it goes. Now what I'd like to do is grab a bucket of the rocket fuel out of this, but I think it's going to export it out straight away. Yes, it is. So this is where, again, our fluid monitor here comes in handy. We can see now we've got rocket fuel. I can select that there, put my bucket in, and now I've got a bucket of rocket fuel. I am going to set this guy, this guy to only do rocket fuel. I also probably want to put a level limiter on this, so let's, we need a redstone card. One of these, redstone, one of these guys. There we go. And I don't have a level limiter on me. I thought I did. but we need the fluid level emitter. Okay, so if I now set this guy to say redstone card goes in there, and I say active with signal. Now this is still going to continue processing and fill up to the top of a tank, but it's not going to pull anything out of the tank until it gets that signal, the redstone signal, and that means that there's always going to be an extra 8 buckets worth here, but I'm not too worried about that. Now we can put the redstone emitter on top. That will probably now be pulling out. I did have some problems setting this up with the other one. It was a little bit flaky. Okay, so it looks like I had to remove the fluid input bus, have the level emitter there beforehand, and this should be emit when levels are above or equal to limit. No, I want to emit when levels are below the limit. And then this one says active with signal. Okay, we've got fluid in the tank, and this is emit when below the limit, and this says active with signal, but it's not currently sucking out the fluid, which is right, but this looks like it's sending out a signal. These are a little bit flaky, but if I turn that now, it will suck out all of the rocket fuel there. Well, that kind of works. We'll have to keep an eye on that to make sure that we don't, well, I was going to say make sure we don't overfill our tank, but I'm not sure how much rocket fuel would need to get to overfill this fluid storage. I mean, that's going to be a massive amount. Let's put this back in. Okay, like that. Now, what are we going to be doing with this rocket fuel that we've got in there? We want to make the plastic sheets, these guys, which need the rocket fuel and raw plastic. So now I can get out buckets of rocket fuel and do this, but I don't want to do that. What I want to do is auto-craft that. To do that, we are going to need a fluid assembler, this guy. I'm not 100% sure how this guy works. Get 4 of those, start, got those, 4 fluid assemblers. Now, I think these, let's put one down and have a look at it. Yeah, these can take recipes in them directly. I'm not sure where exactly I want these set up, but probably over here. Let's go down. For now, I'm going to set these up over here, just because it seems like an easy spot at this point in time. We're using 3 channels right now, so I can put 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, and now we're using 7 channels, so we're all good there. And I can actually take this off here, but clear that. I can take this off there, but may as well leave it there for now. So 4 fluid assemblers. How do these guys work? Well, I've never used them before, so I am interested. We are going to need the other parts of a recipe, but let's just go plastic sheets. We've got nothing for that recipe in there. It needs raw plastic compressed sawdust, and rocket fuel bucket. Well, interesting thing I've found is you can actually do that dragging from NEI trick for these recipes as well. So you can make the recipe without having the items. Here we go, and compressed sawdust, this guy. Okay, write that. Now there should be in here no. I wonder how he works. Okay, so it seems like you're not actually able to put recipes into it through here. But if you go and put the recipe directly into the interface, then it does show up through the terminal. So now we're going to see whether that works. To do that, we need to make some compressed sawdust. At the moment, the best way for me to do that is actually over here. Let's request a bunch of that and some raw plastics. So to do that, we need rubber bars. And then we need to smelt those again. So I'll be back once I've got these items. We can put them in there and see whether this crafting works. Okay, I've got that raw plastic and compressed sawdust. Let's see whether we can get plastic sheets. Let's try crafting 10 of them. Got everything available. It should just use the rocket fuel that's in the system. So let's see if that works. Wow, that seems to be working straight away. Oh, that's awesome. Ah, sweet. We have 41 buckets. Let's try again. Let's try plastic sheets. Craft. Another 20. Go. We come here. Yep, we can see the rocket fuel going down. And the plastic sheets going up, and they're all there. Woohoo! Auto crafting with fluids done. Well, that is awesome. This was actually pretty easy. The biggest pain was actually getting the old logistics stuff to do some of the work for me, and figuring out how to put the recipe in. So, as I said before, I didn't change how I actually had these connected. All I did was physically put this pattern into the fluid assembler. So it's a bit of a shame that you can't access that through the interface terminal like all the other recipes that we put in, but it still works. But that will be all for this episode. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed it and found out something new about fluid crafting using AE2. It makes things like doing those plastic sheets much easier than getting a whole lot of buckets of rocket fuel and sticking them into a crafting table, that's for sure. So, until next time, which we will be doing some crop harvesting, I think. Until next time, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you again later. Bye!